Thank you, Larry. And we're here today to talk about the Healthcare Act, what it's intended to do, what it's desired to do, and what may be the end result. And I'm very interested in hearing these speakers. An organization model that I was introduced to by Dr. Michael Connor, and Dr. Michael Connor is a consultant's consultant. As a matter of fact, I learned this in Puerto Rico, where there was consultants all over the world when he was training them on this model. It's a model that is very accurate in predicting the end results of organizations. That you can also bring it down to the individual level, but from an organization, it's fairly easy to predict the end result of it. On any type of organization, whether it's a charitable organization, the educational organizations, government, business, or even societies. And this model is based upon 4 commitment levels. The 4 commitment levels I'm going to talk about are the challenger, the in-betweener, the traditional, and the synthesizer. And these levels of commitment are developed through life experiences. It's not something that you inherited. It's not something you're gifted with. It's developed through decisions you make in your life. So I'm going to try to demonstrate this, and it's a very complex thing, and use some real prompts. This is going to represent the challenger value system. Now, we're breaking it down to rights and responsibilities. 2 rights, 2 responsibilities. Now, the challenger value system is the person who starts out with my rights. Their commitment level is as high as it serves their rights. When their rights are no longer served, they want to get out of there. So as long as my rights are served, I will be there. Now, we all start out as challengers, as a young baby. And usually this starts to progress about the age of 2 on up. How do we get out of this? And as a young baby, you've heard me say, it's my toys. It's my thing, it's mine. You gotta take care of me, Mom. You gotta take care of me, Dad. No other consideration, right? How do you get them, how do they develop out of the challenger value system? And if you notice, in the model I'm using, this perfect design, this is the challenger, there's a nice little open end up here where I move into the next value system, and that's the in-betweener. Now, moving from the rights-based, my rights, to in-betweener is which rights? Is that a higher level of commitment? I got to start making decisions based upon the rights of other people while they're serving my rights. For instance, the little kids. Maybe if I want to play with some toys, maybe I gotta let them play with my toys, okay? So I'll let them play with my toys as long as it satisfies me, but the minute they're not, I want my toys back. So the commitment level, and you see it visually here, a little bit more substance. You can be more dependable on that person. And then we move from there, from the in-betweener which rights, to the next big step, and this is the step that is the most traumatic of all to take. And if you see the connection as an in-betweener, as I grow on these in-betweeners, and how do you grow on it? You grow on these different stages of commitments because it's through life experience, through what we call C, S-E-E, significant emotional events. Significant emotional events. Now, research shows that if you never get out of the challenger value system by age 13, you will spend the rest of your life making decisions upon what? My rights. That's the highest commitment level I will go. And I like to say this, you mothers in the crowd, Anita, I'm talking to you. You mothers in the crowd. What is a significant emotional event for young kids about 2 to 8 years old? It's becoming non-existent. Is a spanking, a good old hand spanking, what belongs, a significant emotional event? And I heard last week that our neighbors to the north are outlawing spanking by parents. Now this is a decision for you to decide, but it takes significant emotional events for people to develop by this model. So we're going to skip now from the rights model, my rights, which rights, to the responsibility model. And if you see the connection, as a rights person, I'm still going to kind of be there where I can escape. And for goodness sake, if I'm just new moving responsibilities, do not try to lock me in, because I still want this, the ability to escape from the responsibilities if they don't address my issues. So from the responsibilities, then, we go to the traditional value system. Now, the traditional system makes decisions based upon group responsibility. So I'm willing to sacrifice my rights for the sake of the responsibility of the group. Is that a huge jump? It's a tremendous jump, and this is the foundation of all organizations, is the commitment to the founding organization's responsibilities. Then the next step is, and watch this one, and look at the connection here. We go from the traditional group rights, group responsibilities to the synthesizer. Synthesizer is principal responsibilities. Now, if you're going to need a chain, which one of these would you like to attach yourself to if you're in an emergency of some type? And this happens in the real world. So we go from my rights to which rights, which is the maturity level, to group responsibility to principal responsibility. Now, principal responsibilities is also the pursuit and the desire of the United States Constitution. It is also the pursuit of the Catholic Church, if you want to, but specifically the United States Constitution. Now let me try to real shortly identify this for you. And I'm going to read this to you because I get confused in saying it. You have to think this one through. Many rights-based choices have immediate Many rights-based negative choices have immediate positive consequences. Many rights-based negative choices have immediate positive consequences. Let me try to demonstrate to this some examples. I'm on a diet. I come into a place and there's 3 beautiful pies, an apple, a cherry, and a banana pie. I'm on a diet. I says, oh, wait a minute, it's my right to eat those. I'm going to have one of each. That was a negative choice for my diet, but it had positive consequences to me, immediate consequences to me, because those pies were sure good. Now, you can take this down to hungry people. Well, I'm hungry, so I can eat somebody else's food. It's okay then. Sexual freedom, immediate satisfaction in this culture. Now, I'm going to test this one, and my job is to cause you to think, not always be right. But what about the choice on whether I should buy health insurance or a new iPod? Well, I'm going to go with the new iPod, which is a negative choice down the road if I get sick. But the new iPod is sure going to be more fun. The immediate positive consequences is going to be more fun than having to pay for health insurance. Responsibility. Let's look at the responsibility side. Now, the opposite is true in responsibility. Many responsibility-based positive choices have immediate negative consequences. Let's go back to the diet. I'm on a diet. Oh, those 3 pies, I'd like to have one, but I'm not going to have it. So that was a positive choice for the diet, but the immediate consequences was negative. I don't get to eat it, right? Or I'm hungry. I cannot eat other foods just because I'm hungry. Positive choice, negative immediate consequences. Sex should be only in the marital relationship. Let's bring it back to health insurance. I better pay for the health insurance before I enjoy the luxury of an iPod or a new TV, or etc. Now these are all positive choices depending on what happens, but immediate negative consequences. A little bit further, rights. Now here's what you need to understand about rights-based people, because this is the commitment level that they're going to make. If I'm a rights-based person, if I believe it, that makes it true. Now if I change my belief tomorrow on the same topic, then tomorrow the new belief will also be true because I believe it. This is the way these people think. Versus responsibility-based people think, wait a minute, I believe it because it's true. I believe it because it's true. And it won't change tomorrow just for the sake of convenience. Other general observations, rights. On rights, I demand equal outcome. On responsibility type of thinking, we support equal opportunity. And the rights-based people have envy for what they do not have. The responsibility people have optimism for what they can work for. Are you seeing the complete differences between these? Restrictions. Try to put restrictions on a rights-based person and they become angry. And this is the most obvious clue. Just watch the TV. I'll give you some samples in a minute. Rights people that are restricted become angry. Responsibility people that are restricted become frustrated because they want to figure out how to do it the right way. Now, two examples I like to use is Occupy Wall Street. Occupy Wall Street. What did those people do when they were told they had to clean up the messes they made in the parks? They become what? Angry. The rights are restricted. What about the Tea Party candidates? The Tea Party rallies? Have you seen any of them that ever got angry? Frustrated, yes. Angry, no. Now, rights does not replace conscience. Many people, a father said this the other day, and I grabbed it real quickly because it's true. Many rights-based people believe that their rights are replacing conscience. Rights-based people do not like to work for other rights-based people. A rights-based person doesn't want to work for another rights-based person because they constantly struggle on whose right is being taken care of. And you can see they can hook easy, but they don't hook back up as easy, which is also the world of reality. And now Larry said it too, and this is understand. Rights without responsibility destroys future rights. Now this is a fairly complex model, but once you understand that, rights without corresponding responsibility destroy future rights. The reverse is true also. Responsibility without any rights destroys, guess what? Rights, future rights. Now building this into, putting it into an organization and based upon, you can predict the success or failure of organizations based upon whether a rights-based organization or responsibility-based organization. Rights-based organizations can have short-term success but long-term disaster. The best example I have of that, and I used it during the 80s while it was happening, was Enron. Enron was a challenger, value-based organization from the beginning. Tremendous success, but also quick what? Disaster. Versus responsibility-based organizations, they have short-term difficulty, but often long-term success. Now, I was asked to do this, and the big question is this. Is the health care issue mainly a rights-based issue, and are decisions being made on rights, or are they being made upon responsibility? And I do believe this, because I've seen organizations totally destroyed, international companies. I can tell you the story of one international company, I don't have time, that turned it around. When he saw this model, it was a traditional, responsibility-based company who hired a bunch of rights-based managers, and they had instant success, and they were on the downhill slope. Once he found this, he immediately changed it and turned the company around. So whether the healthcare is rights or responsibility-based, and that's for you to decide, whichever one it is, I'm afraid it's going to define the future of America. And I'm just going to leave you with one final thought. And this comes from a person who has been on his own since age 14. You're 10 children, I'm number 10 of 16. So been on his own since age 14. And I leave you with this thought. What are we demonstrating to our young people when their umbilical cord is attached to their parents until age 26? Thank you.